Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Marissa.
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Diaz.
And we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community.
All right, so we're going to talk about what's new with everyone. Chris, what's new with you this week?
Did I get anything new? No, I did not. It's been slow over here.
Marissa, did you get anything new?
Nope.
Jeez. Let's see. Scott, what'd you get new?
I got two sort of new things. This week, I bought it last week, but it came in. I got a, is it True Tone? I always forget the name of this company now because they've like changed names twice.
It's True Tone. They went from Visual Sound to True Tone.
Yeah, there it is. I got the True Tone CS6 power supply, which is the real like slim format one. So I can finally fit a power supply under my Powertrain Metro board.
Oh, nice.
I had a CS7. Actually, I still have it. It's still sitting here, but I already have a buyer lined up for it. So I've been trying to get my mini board working, and just it's really hard to get these patch bay things working with like multi-effects guys. So I mentioned before I got that Boss MS3, and I've been trying to build a board around it. That's actually practical. And I just couldn't get a good arrangement on a pedal board with it, just the way it's set up. So I've got that up and running now and been playing with it. There's still pretty steep learning curve on the Boss MS3 though. Like I'm not ready to jump on stage with it the way I am with my big board. So still playing with that. And then I guess the other thing new for me is I sold my EHX Super Ego. And I've been on the hunt for a Super Ego Plus now that I have money for it.
Yeah, that was... How long did you have that up on Reverb for?
Not that long.
Okay.
4 or 5 days. It was weird. I was like priced like $10, $15 over everybody else around me because I was like, oh, why are these prices so low right now? And then just getting nothing on it, and then out of the blue I just got a full price offer, and I was like, what happened? And I guess like all the Super Egos got bought, and so suddenly mine was the cheapest one out there. So
Well,
that kind of worked for you.
yeah, it worked out well for me. Until it took me like 8 attempts to buy a Super Ego Plus because everyone was rejecting my offers and not countering them.
You were lowballing hard, weren't you?
Well, it seemed like it was just weird. Like prices on Super Egos and Super Ego Pluses like seemed to like suddenly shift like $20 to $30 up on the market all of a sudden. Like there was just a weird bubble, and like no one was accepting even like reasonable offers because like there were guys who I was only offering them like $10 less than asking, and they were just outright rejecting them. So I don't know what was going on.
I don't know. I had...
So that's me.
Yeah, I got blue balls this week, so... For my mic. I already talked about last week about a windshield, so I actually got that. So maybe you guys won't hear me breathing heavy all the time. But it's a condition, Scott, so...
I have so many mean responses and nothing actually constructive to say.
Whatever, Scott.
well, okay then.
Dang. And then I got a camera holder. I can never find a really good or iPhone holder like whenever I want to do live videos. I got this one and it was like kind of bendy. It's like, oh, well, you can put it to any form, but it just bounces around the whole time. So
yeah, it's hard to have like something that like actually holds the iPhone properly because like the one I have, it uses like this like spring action clamp to kind of like hold it in place, and it will randomly just like shoot the camera out.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But it was like $5 on Amazon, so I'm not really arguing with the price I paid for it.
Yeah, and then I had my Line 6 experience. So when I stream in the group, I use the Sonic port. So I run out of my Kemper into my Sonic port into my iPhone. And I had that kind of go down on me. this past week the cable went out, but I called line 6, and I guess from where I've called them before, they had all my stuff on file. They're like, yeah, dude, no, we'll get it out to you right away. No problem. Guy was pretty apologetic. He's like, I'm really sorry that crapped out on you. I'm like, dude, I've had it for 5 years. Like I was expecting, I was just looking where to buy one, and he just sent me one out. So it's pretty cool. Line 6 did a killer job on customer service with that one.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty good.
Yeah, is it a proprietary cable that goes with that? Interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
wonder
I've
because
got,
like a few of the ones I've seen recently have like this like it almost looks like the old serial ports for keyboards back in the day, and those go to like that can like break out into like a USB or a mini USB or a Lightning. But,
yeah. Mine goes out to Lightning, so.
Well, that's good, man. At least it's a replaceable cable, and it's not like the whole thing is shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I bought those when they were on sale. It was like a stupid deal of the day one time when I got them. Or when I got it, but they still run for like $100 on the website. So I mean, it's a pretty good little piece of equipment.
Nice.
So I guess we can move on to gear news. Chris, like you got this first one.
Yeah, the first couple of things we got to talk about are, or I should say, is Fender is releasing a signature Jimmy Page
Hendrix.
cable.
Jimi Hendrix,
What did I
brother.
say, Page?
Jimmy Page, like what?
They don't even spell Jimmy the same way.
That's a
No,
good.
they don't. I don't know what I was thinking. My bad. But anyway, it's the coily cable and like strings. The cable, I think we've like in pre-ep we were discussing that we're 99% sure this is just a regular coily cable
That's
with
purple.
Voodoo Child written on one of the heat shrinks.
Yeah, but think about all the tone that comes from that heat shrink, man.
Yeah,
and the
all
mojo.
31 feet or whatever that translates into that's coiled up.
Yeah, the Jimmy Neutron signature
tone
cable
loss.
is going to be great.
Jimmy Neutron.
Random Jimmys.
Sinusoid if you decide to do that.
The Jimmy Spitz signature.
We called a kid in college Jimmy Neutron, and he was like the most annoying kid ever. Anyway.
But as far as the strings go, I think we're actually kind of interested in these, like overall, because they're not like they're all sets of 10, like a .10 set, but they only go up to 38. They don't go up to your normal like 42, 48. I think is normal for 10s.
Yeah, wasn't
46.
when Scott Marquardt was on our show 3 episodes ago.
Wait, how do you say his last name?
Marquardt.
See, I've never knew how to say his last name. I was always wondering it. So
Watch, I just said it wrong, and we're going to lose our sponsorship. That's what's going to happen. But
thanks
no,
a lot, Scott.
Yep. Episode 21 with the Scott that Diaz actually likes. He was talking about how Hendrix, that they didn't really make sets of 10s back then. And so Jimmy was taking a size, like a 13 set, and moving them up. So what should have been the high E was actually the B string, and then bringing in like a banjo string to get that .10. So that's where I'm kind of curious of I wonder what a normal size of 13s are. Is the A string a 38 usually?
Find out real quick.
Google to the rescue.
As you hear Chris's and my loud keyboards just click, 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 click.
I don't have a keyboard, so I'm just going to make noises over here. I'm eating chips, so that's my noise. Salt and vinegar Pringles are the bomb. I'm sorry, I can't put them down.
An A string on a regular 13 is .046, at least in the world of Diodario.
Dario.
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 Dang old Darios.
Do they... Why did I go to Elixir for the strings? I don't know what I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, Chris, you win.
I just went straight to Amazon.
So this one's actually like my eyes rolled when I first saw them, but now I'm just kind of like, oh, I guess that makes sense. why they do it. If you're like seeking Jimi Hendrix's exact tone, using his string gauges might be a component of it.
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise you'd have to get a custom set from somebody, or like buy 3 different sets just to get the.
You know who makes custom sets of strings? Stringjoy.
We're gonna have to charge him for this episode now.
A random invoice. Diaz mentioned you $5.
Like, we'll charge you 1 set of string each.
He'll break up a set of strings, give each of us 1. It's not like one we normally break. Like, I will just get an A string out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, great, great, thank you.
It's like, now we have to try to break that string.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think they're coming in Fender bullets and the ball ends, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes.
And
Sure.
aren't they steel and nickel as well? I didn't copy those notes in the show notes. So.
Nickel and nickel-plated steel. I never really understood, like, what the point of the bullet end from Fender was.
It
sits
creates more
better,
contact.
Yeah, it sits better in a Strat trem, is the understanding.
Huh.
I bought Fender bullets when I first started playing guitar. That was the first sets of strings I was buying. But I stopped. So, anyone got any other input on this?
No, because I like the strings I use, so this is, like, cool. Unless this is going to be, like, a trend where we start seeing, like, signature strings for other people from other companies.
Oh, a lot of people have already done signatures. I mean, well, or they've got, like, artist-endorsed strings. Like, Dave Mustaine, I think, had a set of strings with... I think he was with Dean Markley, wasn't he?
Were they, like, branded towards him, or were they just like, hey, I play these strings?
No, I think they're branded towards him. That's, I'm trying to think of other players. I don't know. I feel like that's been done a little. Not anything crazy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Ernie Ball always had the people on the back of the thing. They're like...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They've always had that.
Well, I mean, there's just so many people who just play standard strings.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a major part of it, but there's always, like, I think immediately of Stevie Ray Vaughan is a lost opportunity in that, to do a Stevie Ray Vaughan set, because I'm sure people would be like, oh, well, I have to get his exact string gauges, because, you know, there's that cult of Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan played with 13s, man up. Sorry, that's my old redneck blues guy yelling at kids.
They
playing
can
with
enjoy their
nines.
arthritis and the RSI that they're going to give themselves trying to play without strings out of nowhere.
Yeah. Then there's artists like Brian May and Billy F. Gibbons who play really light sets too, though. Brian May had a set of strings, I'm pretty sure.
Probably, I mean, like,
they were like gold
more or
plated.
less got his own guitar company at this point.
Mm-hmm. Who's looking it up? I hear the keyboard.
They're made by Optima, and they're 24 karat gold plated.
I told you, yeah, gold plated. Hold on, let me look up the information. Sorry.
Your magic 8-ball that you got over there to ask your questions to?
All signs point to yes.
The way that the Pringles fell point to that being a positive outlook.
Oh my goodness. Alright, I guess we'll move on to the next one. Scott, I think yours was next?
Yeah, so this popped up in my feed this week that Zeppelin Design Labs is releasing, and I didn't listen to the video recently, so I believe it's called the Quaverado harmonic tremolo
Sounds
pedal.
right.
What's interesting about this is, well, first off, it is a both harmonic and traditional reverb pedal, so tremolo pedal, not reverb. So it can do either mode, where it splits your highs and lows into an out of phase. So when one is high, the other is low, and vice versa. Or the the straight up normal one where it's just in and out volume level. And it's got a few extra kind of tone shaping features and things like that. But where this really got interesting to me, at least, was that they're offering it at a fairly reasonable price point for a boutique pedal with a lot of the features that they have on it, but they're also offering it as a DIY kit. So you can just buy the parts and put it together for about $89. And so I pulled the trigger on that. It hasn't arrived yet. So we'll probably be following up on this more in the future. But it also looks like there's some more development still yet to be done on the pedal, which I thought was interesting too. Dude, Diaz.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, gosh. Sorry, we're all having to listen to Diaz eat right now, which you probably won't hear in the main feed.
Probably not.
Eating chips.
Sorry. Listen, one went down the wrong pipe. Sorry.
Anyway.
It didn't work out well. I was trying not to die on air.
So this has multiple waveforms that you can do. So, traditionally you see a lot that let you have like the sinusoidal waveform, and then there'll be the pyramidal, and then there'll be a square wave function. This also looks like it has a sawtooth and reverse sawtooth ability. Has tap tremolo, relay controlled true bypass, and then the other thing is that it's supposed to come with an update in the future to allow MIDI controls, and you can even hack the source code inside of it if you know how to do Arduino programming. So at $189, those are a lot of features that you often don't see on things less than $300, especially with the MIDI control stuff. So it really starts becoming a more interesting pedal than just, it's another tremolo. So, and it also has momentary switching. So like you can just do like you put your foot down and the effects on until you let up and things like that. So a lot of features built in here. I'm looking forward to digging into it and playing around with it.
So when are they supposed to start delivering on that?
That's a great question, because I ordered it on Friday and I haven't got a shipping notification yet. Which is fine, because I'm out of town all next week. But
so if you were to, what's your address, so none of us can go and visit? And
123 Evergreen Terrace, Springfield.
whichever state you want to pick at the time. All right, so I guess next we'll talk about now that I'm done eating my chips. You got
your sugar levels up for this one now, didn't you?
All right, listen, I was hungry. Back off. I woke up from a nap, and so I take a nap before we record, and I woke up and it was time to record. I went right back to sleep. Some people might have gotten their wish. They might have gotten an episode without Diaz this week. But I woke up and I was hungry, so I'd eat some chips. And it took us, I figured we'd be done by now, but it took us a 4-hour
I was going to say,
pre-ep.
we had like an hour and a half pre-ep you could have eaten, Darren. I could have cooked.
You did eat during the pre-app.
I did eat during the pre-ep. I just continued eating during the episode. I don't care. All right, so Kemper released... Did they release it, or they're releasing the update?
I thought it came out.
It could have. I don't know.
I know part of it's still in beta, but I thought the official announcement was that all this already came out.
Maybe. I don't know. So they've got the update coming out, which a lot of people freaked out about because they wanted better reverbs. So one of the fallings of the Kemper is the onboard effects are good, but like the reverbs was very limited. There was a hall, a plate, and there was a very few choices. So they came out with a spring reverb. That's what everyone freaked out about. And it kind of does drip, but even though this is last but not least, we're gonna do that first. But I actually downloaded the beta while we were at Summer NAMM and played with the spring reverb, and it actually sounds pretty good. So. But it also has one of the things. What are you laughing about?
Never mind.
I'm just what?
Carry on.
Carry on, dude. Just keep going.
No. I'm done. You do it.
So there's a lot of new features in this update that are coming out. They're featuring multiple clock speeds. There's the new cab driver and stereo function. There's new Celestian IR profiles coming in. There's momentary and latched mode features. There's new MIDI features. And then there's the new reverb that came out. There you go. That's the list.
Fun.
Well, you put like the long... whatever.
You asked for this.
I did not. You literally put on in the group. You're like, found out what we're going to talk about this week. I didn't ask for it. I'm not that excited.
You're the one that has a Kemper.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't. I have a car, but you don't see me freaking out every time a car gets released. we stop the airbags from killing your kid. Like, you don't see me getting too excited about that. Like,
It's kind of dark.
that wasn't that dark. It could have been worse.
All right, Marissa, introduce the
Oh my
topic.
god.
Do we want to talk about any of those actual features other than the reverb, thoh, or no?
No, I was about to say what I thought was cool, but then Scott was over getting mad or whatever.
All right, so what did you think was cool?
The cool feature is the momentary and latch on the remote. So you can actually change the switching from latch to moment, or from latch to momentary by holding it down for a second now. So with your effects, like say you want to do sporadic effects, you can do that. You don't have to like double click. You can use it in a momentary setting. So that's pretty cool. And
so, like, if I wanted to momentarily switch between like a Marshall and a Vox, I could. Or whatever.
I believe maybe. I don't know if that would work.
Or is it like only effects based?
I didn't look into it, but I'm guessing it's more for the effects because switching performances you'd have to jump back. So I don't think it would like only pull it up for a moment and like go back to what it was. So.
Dang.
But I think the effects would work like that. But I mean that's pretty cool. So
I think
Scott.
It all stands all the more reason to, when you buy a Kemper, get the foot switch right away.
Yes, get the foot switch because if not, you're gonna regret it and you'll never get one afterwards.
Mm-hmm. So the one I was actually really interested in was this cab driver and stereo feature because like this is like one of those things I just was never able to wrap my head around on a Kemper. Was like a lot of these profiles are measuring the speaker output, not the amplifier output. And then like how are you modeling the effects of like a microphone picking up a speaker versus just literally what the amplifier itself is doing? And then like how people are like running this as an onstage amplifier and then sending a signal to front of house and just dealing with those different sounds that are like those scenarios have different tones and different sounds. And so this cab driver and stereo thing now lets you run multiple profiles at the same time, where one profile will go out through the power amp if you have the powered version of this unit.
I don't think it's multiple profiles. I think it's multiple cabs. Does it say multiple profiles?
I think that's what was said earlier.
Hold on.
So are cabs and the profile modeled separately?
Profiles
are they always two pieces?
It always comes through as two pieces, yeah.
Okay.
So like you can, so whenever you profile an amp, you also say what the cab was, and it like deducts what sound the cab's adding.
Oh.
Interesting.
So like the amp, so whenever you were picking, because you can change, that's where the Celestian IRs is going to take over your cab section, so you can change the cab on the amp. So you've got 3 different spots whenever it comes to the actual sound of your profile for your amp sound. You've got your like the head, the EQ, and the cab. So it's got 3 different sections there that you can turn on and off, and you can switch. So
okay. So what is cool now is you can run multiple cabs, or you can run different cabs to different outputs now.
Yeah, but you can't run 2 profiles at the same time, because that's one thing that people have been like screaming for. They want to be able to run stereo cabs.
Because I mean, you can
or stereo
do that
amps, but you can't do different
like
amps.
Helix.
Yeah, you can do that in the Helix. You can't do that on the Kemper.
So I can't have a Vox on stage and run a Fender to front of house kind of a thing.
Correct. Correct.
But I can run
You can
notepad
run
sim to what I'm running on stage, and then send something through a 4x10 sim to front of house.
Yeah, for the most part.
Which is still a nice feature to add.
Yeah.
But a lot. I don't see there. That's not a common scenario.
No.
If you're using the Kemper, typically you're running no stage volume. I mean, or if you're gonna run it through a cabinet, you're gonna just mic the cabinet from the stage. So.
I mean, that's definitely the traditional P&W approach with the silent stage, which is, I mean, that's the majority of the time I'm seeing people talk about Kempers right now. So,
actually,
but
Kemper in the heavy metal world is pretty dang big.
I always thought they were more Axe Effects people, but
no. See, that's where people have been moving to Kemper. So a lot of people in the heavy metal world, you see a lot of heavies, like you see a lot of Marshall stacks and Diesel. Was it Engel ENGL? You see a lot of those guys on the what they call the it's like the marketplace. I forgot what it's called. But you see a lot of them on there. They I don't know. It's like it is pretty big in the metal world. So if you watch a lot of Kemper videos, it's people playing metal. So, and then you got a lot of the dad rock stuff, like the Van Halen, like kind of that 80s, not so much glam, but getting into glam.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of those guys playing them too. But Praise and Worship has them right now, especially with the silent stage thing. We're, as a group, we're going for.
Yeah, the UI to MIDI function that they're featuring is also kind of interesting, because then now you can slave one remote to control two Kempers and send MIDI commands off of each other. Or the one I always think of is when I heard Periphery was basically running a click through Ableton and also doing all their effects changes at the same time.
Yeah.
So their one central Ableton thing was basically controlling everybody's rig.
Mm-hmm.
So no one needs to click their pedals or anything. I guess if you're going to do the same show every night, where like Periphery is like very scripted music because it's, the type of music it is, like that's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of these people who like program their settings and they're not big on adjusting. They should really look at adding, because a lot of people use Ableton to trigger tracks and stuff like that. I was like, you should really look at using that to trigger something MIDI, even if you're using like a Morning Star or something like that. You can have it control and and run all your MIDI effects and change all your settings for you. If that's the type of person you are, where like people are like, oh well, I've got this set for this part of the song, and it goes through. If you've already got it programmed and you don't vary from it, that's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, I'm quickly learning I am not that type of person.
Where everything stays the same?
Yeah, this MS3 is definitely proven to myself that like having set presets is not just the way I think. I like just picking and choosing the day of what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but not everyone's that way.
I like adding random effects to some things sometimes. So
sometimes you just need more flanger. That's just
phaser. Phaser.
More phaser?
No, you don't need flanger. You need phaser.
I'm a big fan of my flanger, but
what are we all laughing at?
Topic?
If you got to ask, you're just not going to find it funny.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'll go. Marissa, do you want me to cover for you?
I'll do it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Misogynist.
Dang it.
I'm going to have to edit that out.
Do not edit that out. Leave it in.
I thought I was going to get off easy this week.
No.
I'm writing this one down this time.
Write down the time mark.
Yeah. So I thought I would only have to listen to the first 20 minutes. Now I got to go all the way to marker 35.
Deal with it.
And it wasn't even me. Like, I was just over here eating my chips. Mind my own business.
All right.
Are you good?
Yeah. When you're ready.
Okay. So for this week's topic, we're going to be talking about upgrading your gear or just buying something new.
Yeah, so this came from a post in a gear group we saw where someone just bought or had a very, very new, let's call it mid-tier guitar. It was a Paul Reed Smith SE model where he was like, I love the way it looks. I like the way it plays, but I don't like the pickups in it. And then started listing a number of sort of the in vogue boutique pickups, which would probably run him another $300, $400 probably, depending if he could do the installation himself or not. Versus getting a Paul Reed Smith Starla, which I'm not super hot on the prices, but I think the used market for a Starla hovers around $1,000. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say 900 on the low end.
Yeah. So, the prices of the two are about a wash, right?
Yeah.
So, and then basically asked for talk me in or out of it, or, just the gear group kind of style of talking where you just want attention. Of, should I do this or shouldn't I? Wait, it's not in our group, so I can talk shade. Watch, come next Wednesday.
Listen, Scott, everyone is a potential listener. Hey, that's happened to me before. legit has happened to me. I was talking smack about someone, and then I think like an episode day after episode dropped, so and so was added to the group, and I was like, I messaged the guys. I was like, it's about to go down. This guy's gonna he's here to almost high school playground me. Like, where's he at? Where's Diaz?
All right.
Where's the? Oh my god.
So, I mean, this isn't a cost issue, really.
Well, it's about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if he gets the pickups, he's about the same amount in. The main thing is so we were talking about it in the pre-app. And my thought is that it all depends. So I'm a big person on it depends on how a guitar feels. So he knows he says he loves the way the guitar feels and plays. So you know what you've got, and if it's just the way that it sounds due to electronics, I mean, you're not adding any value to it, but you're gonna get it the way if you can get it to sound how you want. You know how it plays and feels. If you're getting another guitar, you're not 100% on it.
So I'm a bit of a weirdo where very few of my guitars are identical. Like, none of them have the same neck profile or anything like that. It's all about how they sound to me. So, the feel is actually sometimes secondary to how a guitar sounds when I'm looking at buying them. Am I the only one that way?
It feels number one for me, honestly.
Yeah, feel's always been number one for me.
So, do you just pick up the guitar and play it without plugging it in when you're looking at electric guitars?
Half the time, yes.
Yeah, I play without plugging it in first.
Because, for example, my John Mayer took a while to get used to how big that neck is.
Well, that's one thing is adjusting to the neck, but there's just sometimes you just, it's not so much the width of the neck, but the feel of it due to whatever lacquer they use or whatever, if they do. What type of joint? What was that?
That was our dog. You're coming in
Is your
here all
dog operating
shaky.
a jackhammer?
I thought maybe your dog was throwing coins at you like you're Judas Iscariot or something. Here's your 10 pieces of silver, now leave me be.
We all know what
that
Diaz's
look on her
sermon was
face.
about today.
But now my kids are running through the house being crazy, so we've been on this too long, guys. No, but no, it depends on what they use to finish it, stuff like that. It's a lot of people are into sanded necks right now, which makes me nervous to sand the neck of my own guitar. So
I do the don't use steel wool, but the steel wool thing, do that first because you can always undo it. You can just buff it back. And frankly, it undoes itself over time because like your hand will. So like you score it with like a scouring pad or like a steel wool pad or something like that. Steel wool's the worst option. Don't do that. Or if you do it the right way where you're not screwing up your pickups from steel wool. But what all you're doing is you're just kind of scraping up the back of your neck. So you're not actually taking much lacquer off. You're just kind of scoring it. So it's not a perfectly smooth surface. So you're not having as much surface area between your thumb and the actual thing, and it's not getting as grippy, and so your neck gets faster as a result. But over time, your hand will just sit there and buff and wear up your finish more and smooth it back out. So depending on how much you play, and if it doesn't, you just take it to a buffing machine and you just rebuff the neck, and it works. It's back to...
Oh yeah, I'll have to whip out my buffing machine.
I mean, everyone should have a buffing machine.
Yeah, you don't have one?
I keep one in my guitar case. I mean, that's an essential gig piece of gear.
He's like, I've got a buffing machine case that I throw it in.
I actually might have a buffer. I don't know if I do.
And my kid just fell down the stairs.
Do you guys
are yelling at me for what I'm screwing up on this podcast. Come on,
buddy. He shook his head yes, and he said no. Go see mommy and lay down.
Jeez.
My gosh, this is the worst episode ever.
Diaz's kid has a concussion. All right.
No, at least he doesn't have a meat thermometer through his foot.
Oh gosh, that was so disgusting when you showed us that photo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Imagine being here, and you're just like, what just happened?
Did that happen on air?
No, it happened right before we were going to record. I was literally sitting down, and I was like, I gotta go, guys. Take my kid to the emergency room. He has a meat thermometer in his foot.
Gosh. All right.
Same kid. I'm sorry.
Same kid.
Way back to the topic originally here of you were saying, so the feel of a guitar is important. If you like the feel of the guitar, then you should be modifying it. Yeah,
definitely. Well,
yes.
I mean, I would say deep down inside, you really know what you want to do. Like that guy actually he's like, in all honesty, this is what I'd really do. I'd really want to get the Starla. Well, then get the Starla. I mean, those are two different feeling guitars too. So it looks like he's trying to change. The Zach Myers is a semi-hollow, and the Starla is a solid body
with a Bigsby too. So I mean, you're going from a hardtail to a Bigsby is a big change too.
Yeah, so it's like you want the change.
Did this guy post in multiple groups? Because I thought I saw something about like a Strat style trem on a hollow body coming up in another one of these. Maybe he cross posted this.
Not sure.
This guy might be in 60 cycle hum too.
Is he?
I don't know. You just have to scroll so far in 60 cycle because there's so many people.
If you are in both groups, let us know.
Yeah,
you know who you are,
which is 90% of our listeners.
Send us
Guitar Praise and Worship. Yes, he did cross post it.
Okay, calm down, Scott.
You calm down. And I'm not reading all this junk. Yeah, it was he's not a fan of Strat trims. Yeah.
Well, that's silly. Strat trims are great.
They're like perfect.
Disagree.
Better than a Jaguar trim or whatever, Jazzmaster trim.
Also,
did your iPad die?
Disagree again.
Yep.
Well, okay. Brian from 60 Cycle Hum is an idiot. And then according to Jimi, I'm an idiot. Which doesn't hurt my feelings at all, because I know I am. So being self-aware makes things a lot easier.
That's what Alexa tells us anyway.
So, I think a common issue. Let's dial this to a different guitar in a different situation. I think. Say you have a Mexican Stratocaster, and you like the way the guitar feels. It's playing fine, but you want the way that the custom shop Strat sounds. I think that's
pickups?
if you can just buy the pickups and it's $100 upgrade versus $1,000 cost differential.
Yeah.
And also, that's a slightly the Zach Myers isn't really a huge invasion to the guitar body to change the pickups on it.
No.
I mean, there are things to factor in here. Is this mod reversible? I think is a huge one to consider. Like, it's not like, oh, I have a Strat and I want the sound of I want to put a P90 in it, and I'm gonna have to like route out the body to fit a P90 pickup in there. That's a different story than I'm just going to quick solder in, solder out a new pickup. But the other thing we brought up in the pre-episode was just the reselling a modified guitar is instantly more difficult and rarely ever brings any actual value to the guitar.
No one can put that they've upgraded the pickups and can legitimately add value. Yeah, I think it can help depreciation, but it's not gonna like boost the value.
Definitely doesn't add value at all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've seen that all too often that most people assume that it does.
Yeah, the only time I let it add value if I'm looking at a guitar that I might buy or trade is if they include the original pickups as well. So 60 Cycle Hum, way back when, like right towards the beginning, talked about this, about pickups, and I kind of stand with them on it, is that you're taking out to a $200 set of pickups and adding in a $250 set of pickups. You're really only adding about $50 worth of value, but it really doesn't end up even adding that much. They usually call it even as well. But like, that's the thing too, is you're taking something out and putting something back in. So you have to compare the value that way as well. But usually I don't let it add any value unless you include the original pickups. And I know I could always sell the other, one of the sets.
Yeah, I think locking tuners is a common one that people try to justify adding $100 to something. It's like, no, I'd pay $20 more.
Aren't even.
Yeah, I'd say $20 more. We should probably do a podcast about buying and selling gear on Craigslist, and we could also talk about geography once in a while.
Yeah,
that would never be successful. And
never.
Gosh, maybe we talk about burritos.
Just because my last name's Diaz, I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess what we're getting at is there are scenarios this makes sense, and there are definitely scenarios where it just does not make sense to mod it.
You can't. I mean, going from the PRS Zach Myers to the Starlet is two different styles of guitars. If you really want the Starlet, just get the Starlet. Sell the guitar you have, add money to it, or sell something else and stay in where however much you're already in to your gear and upgrade your guitar if you consider it an upgrade. I'm talking about like upgrade going from one guitar to another. You're upgrading the value that you have in your guitar. But if you're content with the way a guitar plays and feels, and you like love that guitar that way, but you just don't like the way it comes through the speakers, then just get new pickups. Just do whatever makes your heart happy.
Yeah. I think another interesting point in here that we had was both the PRS being the Zach Myers being modded is an unknown right now. You don't exactly know how everything's going to turn out from that mod. Whereas you can go find a known Starla. You get to try it before you buy it. You can go determine like, oh, this works for me. This is the one I want, and then you can go sell your Zach Myers. You have just a more known path by doing it. You're minimizing your risks. And also, a Zach Myers Paul Reed Smith is actually a pretty popular guitar, so you shouldn't have much trouble moving that.
No, that's definitely a guitar that doesn't stay on the used market very long.
Yeah. So it's
unless
not
you're
like
asking
you're
a
trying
stupid price.
You're not trying to sell like a Strat Plus from the 80s with a locking nut.
I'd say that it would probably be easier to move the Zach Myers than the Starla.
Maybe. Partly just because it's a lower price, so it's easier to move. But yeah,
I don't know.
Starlets seem to move pretty quick too. So both are popular guitars.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take your word for that.
I mean,
believe you.
My local stores never seem to keep any of those things in stock very long. So
Yeah.
there's a
I never
lot of
really pay
turnover on
attention
those
to,
shelves.
like, PRSs.
I love Paul Reed Smith guitars. I really do.
Some of them I love. Some of them I don't. I understand why people love them. I understand why people don't.
Randy Jackson limited edition guitar. The Yo Dog. It's not really called the Yo Dog, but that would be a great name for it. Sorry, I was looking at my local Craigslist because there was a Zach Myers on here not too long ago. I was seeing if it was still on there. There's a badly relic Fender USA Stratocaster that's still on here.
I always love when people sell the Highway ones as USA.
Yeah, they're not. They're like.
Yes,
really
they are made in the
USA.
U.S., but like you're trying to say it's an American standard without saying it's an American standard, so that we think we have to pay more for it.
I had a Highway 1 Telecaster, and I hated it. I had it for like a week, and I got rid of it.
All right. Do we have anything more to kind of add to this this concept?
I think we've like all said our piece on
I
it.
feel like people should stop asking random strangers for advice on their life in general.
But don't you love getting on those threads though?
Fighting with people. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, you do.
That's what I do. I took that week off of Facebook. Gosh, it must have been peaceful on the internet. Everyone's like, wow. What happened? Everyone just got nicer to each other all of a sudden. All right, wrap it up, Marissa. Say your thing.
What does this usually go?
She's like, I'm usually asleep by now.
You say thank you for joining us, and make sure that you like leave the review on iTunes, and that you follow us on Instagram at the FX Loop.
Perfect. You're done.
We actually got reviews on iTunes. I was surprised. I went and looked.
Doug King
nice.
left us one. Did we get any more?
Wait, which one's Doug King?
It was the only one that was there for last time I checked.
No, there was a couple of them.
Are there really?
So, yeah, I think.
Then we
no,
need to
my-
thank those people by name.
Thank you, people.
Thank you.
We
By
appreciate.
name.
We appreciate
By
you,
name.
people. Hold on.
I still only see one review. Oh, there's a see all button. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to do that. Try seeing them all, Chris or Scott, whoever you are.
Yeah. So thanks,
We're gonna do
Doug
this. Is gonna be the
King.
most awkward leaving. We're like, thank you, Douglas King. Like, thanks, Michael Newman.
Someone
I
just
just know
wrote
he's gonna listen.
update please as their name with an ellipsis afterwards. And then,
Update. What are we updating?
Lots of great gear and guitar talk mixed with Diaz rants. He's mostly wrong. He's mostly wrong, especially about hot dogs, but at least he's entertaining.
Oh my gosh, who wrote that? What's their
All right,
name?
whoever wrote that, DM me. I will send you something. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I think I still have a t-shirt or something left from NAMM. I'll send you something. Now I'm going to get like everyone saying, oh yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was me.
Prove it.
Prove it. So yeah, thanks to everybody who's left us a gear review.
Thank
you
you.
mean?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for doing the thing.
So, you want
Yeah.
to pick up where I left off?
I'll just start over.
Okay.
Sir. Thanks for joining us. Like Chris had said, leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Instagram at the FX Loop. And join our Facebook group, facebook.com. Search the FX Loop and join us. You can also go over to our YouTube page where we have videos from NAMM, and I think we do the podcast every week on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get
we
a
do.
fresh copyright
Cross-posted.
infraction every week.
Yep. So I'm waiting for Diaz to get written permission so I can stick it to YouTube of saying, "Ha, we have permission."
Yeah, suck it,
You guys
YouTube.
would like to... Oh, goodness.
Twitch is better. Sorry.
Oh, good grief.
Now we're just gonna get our whole channel shut down.
Yeah,
We're gonna
thanks,
get
guys.
demonetized.
We're already demonetized.
Oh yeah,
We're not
sorry. No, we're gonna
big,
get deplatformed. That's what they were calling whatever they did to that guy. Anyway,
probably.
If you would like to send us gear news or topics you would like for us to talk about for the next coming weeks, you can send us an email at thefxloop@gmail.com. Or you can put that in our Facebook group as well. For the FX Loop, I'm Marissa.
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott.
I'm Diaz.
Thank you guys so much.
This has been awkward.
Thank y'all.
Oh my gosh. Children.
Thanks, Mom.
We have to just keep pushing along.